Hey guys, it's Dice. With the new and improved shadow buffs coming in on the 10.5 patch next Wednesday for EU and next Tuesday for NA, I just want to quickly go over the changes, the buffs, and how it's actually going to affect us as a spec going forward. Some of the buffs actually change our talent traces and how we prioritise our abilities in cleave and AoE situations, in Mythic Plus and in raids depending on the fight. So with that, let's hop into the blue post. So quickly looking at the blue post, we're going to look at the class tree changes and then we're going to go into the spec tree. So first of all, we have a new talent called Sanguine Teachings. It increases our leech by 3% and it's a passive talent, you don't have to worry about it, it's just a flat 3% leech and it's up against Vampiric Embrace as a choice node. It's completely up to you what you do, but I will just say Vampiric Embrace is a much better group heal and utility cooldown and you're most likely going to want to be using this as much as you can, and it helps your group out a lot more than that 3% leech would. So, Vampiric Embrace no longer being on the global cooldown. What does this mean? It means that you are now able to use Vampiric Embrace at the same time as other abilities. So previously in a raid encounter, for example on Dathia, I was having to pop my Dark Ascension on the platform, my Mindbender, Shadow Crash, and then Vampiric Embrace, making sure to get the most out of it that my CDs are rolling, as well as PI on top of that, sorry. Now I can actually macro it into PI, and this is going to be amazing in outside of raid content, right? You're still going to be able to use it whenever, but in open world content or Mythic Plus, you can macro it into PI to make sure you're always using it with your cooldowns. In raids, you might not want to do that, so don't jump on that bandwagon dead quick because some raid cooldowns actually assign Vampiric Embrace, so your raid leader might when you choose it on a certain ability. It doesn't do a lot of healing, right? But it's smart healing. It'll instantly heal, certain people that are lower and in more danger. But don't macro it in straight away if you're mythic, you're raiding mythic because your raid leader might want to assign it. But outside of that, go for it. It means you're not going to forget to use it. You're going to get good usage, and it's guaranteed to line up with your cooldowns, right? That's the most important thing. It'll only do a significant amount of healing with your cooldowns. So, Sand Lane also causes Sanguine Teachings to grant an additional 2% leech, so that rounds it up to 5%. And now manipulation can be triggered by Mind Flay and Mind Flay Insanity. So you have your Mind Flay Insanity and your general Mind Flay also making sure that this is proccing now as well. Nice little change, very niche, but it helps the spec going forward. It's things that should have been happening anyway, but for some reason weren't added in. But better late than never, right? So looking at the spec tree, we have Psychic Link now also function with Mind Games, Void Bolt and Void Torrent. This is the only change that hasn't yet been implemented, as well as the other shadow buffs. So we've had a bunch of buffs as well. So for example, we've had Mind Flay Insanity, 15% damage buff, Mind Blast, Devouring Plague, Mind Spike, and Void Torrent, all by 15%. I would argue that it was needed. Shadow did really need a single target damage buff. I'm glad that they did it on these abilities. And the Psychic Link functionality with Mind Games, Void Torrent, and Void Bolt is going to be huge. I think it's actually going to take Shadow from being already pretty good in Mythic Plus, even though a lot of groups still won't take it because of that stigma. I do think that's going to change, guys. I hope it's going to change because as much as I love Priest, sitting in a queue for an hour to try and get into a key is a bit rough. But I think as soon as you start seeing these top streamers run with Shadow Priest next week, it's going to be a lot easier to get into keys. You're going to be able to push that Raider IO and you're going to be able to actually do content right. So we're going to see how the Sims will change this as builds come up on the servers. But I think Public gave a rough ball estimate of it's going to be about 8 to 9% on single target, which is huge, right? We've already got that in. Those damage numbers are already there. It's just the Psychic Link that we're waiting on. So from these buffs alone, about 8 to 9%. Pretty nice, actually. So let's have a little look at what Psychic Link change does for us and how it's actually going to change the talent trees and how we pick them. So what does this mean for us as a whole? So as I've mentioned, the damage percent buffs of the single target abilities that I mentioned before is already implemented. It's already on the live servers. You've already got those damage buffs. It's just the Psychic Link portion that we're waiting on. So you might be asking when's it coming. So it'll be Tuesday the 24th of January for North America and it'll be Wednesday the 25th for Europe. So because of this being such a significant change to our rotation and damage as a whole in Mythic Plus and Raid Cleave scenarios, depending on what bosses you're on, it does shake up our damage breakdown and potentially our talent trees as well. So going forward, we can see that the Psychic Link allows us to do 60% of our damage done by Mind Blast, Mind Flay, Mind Spike, now Mind Games and Void Torrent and Void Bolt. It means we're likely to go down the path into Void Torrent on the right hand side of the tree and picking up Insidious Ire for the single target damage or Malediction for the AoE cleave. You'll have to pick this on the go. It's going to change on a week by week basis. It's going to change on content basis. You're just going to have a look and think, do I want the cleave damage from my Void Torrent having a shorter cooldown, or do I want that single target damage from Malediction maybe on a Tyrannical week? That's up to you. You're going to have a little mess around with it and see what works best for you on those content weeks. So we're also going to be picking up Idle and Azoth. So while recently a lot of people are used to taking Void Torrent in raids, it's almost certain that it's going to be the go-to in Mythic Plus as well. So this means that as we path down the right hand side, we're going to be semi-forced into Idle and Azoth just because it's there. So N'Zoth as an AoE capstone at the bottom of the right hand tree has always been a bit annoying because it's locked behind single target cooldowns or single target cooldown reductions, like, you know, Malediction reducing the cooldown of Void Torrent. We'd never take it in Mythic Plus because even if we spec'd into Void Torrent, it's only single target damage. But with the Psychic Link change, it means we're going to be able to take it and it's going to actually give us an AoE or cleave damage buff as well, as we're going to be getting that Void Torrent off a cooldown much quicker. So it does path really well, and it's going to be nice to have N'Zoth, but it hasn't been buffed, right? So while N'Zoth's not been buffed, it's just we're taking it because it's convenient and it's there. Might shake up a little bit in dungeons like, you know, Knocker Defensive, Algathor Academy, where there is a lot of low health targets that die very quickly and they're exploding on the other pack as often as it can. We're going to have to wait and see. I'm going to be messing around with it on live personally just to see how it feels, but generally we're not going to be dropping Yogg-Saron at all. It's too good of a capstone, it's too good in single target and AoE, so it means we're going to be either playing an Azoth or Yogg build, or a Yogg-Saron and Cthulhu. But if you're doing that, you're still going to be picking up Void Torrent. You won't be going for Malediction as you won't have the points, but you will still always pick up Void Torrent now that it cleaves. You're never going to deviate from the 2 points in Psychic Link. You're always just going to be taking 1 point away from somewhere else, maybe utility that you don't need, just to try and get that Malediction. So generally, it might take some getting used to, as a lot of people obviously haven't had Void Torrent in their AoE ability pool before. Even if you've been in raids, it's a bit awkward to squish in, especially since the raids are very high in movement. But it's just about rejigging your thought process, right? Rejigging your thought process in terms of rotation and priority casts. And when you get into those AoE situations, Void Torrent is going to be high up there on your priority target list. You're going to be wanting to hit the Void Torrent as soon as you can, as soon as your dots are up on everybody, to make sure that you're getting that Psychic Link damage. And you're going to be using Mind Games here and there, right? You know, so it does cleave as well, but it's not for the damage. You won't be taking it for the damage that it does, you'll just be taking it for, you know, healing packs or packs that... You're basically going to be using it when you've got nothing else to press, essentially. That's what you're going to be going for. When there's nothing else to press, you're pressing your Mind Games. And once you get that down, you'll be grand. It doesn't change that much. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but you can start practicing now, just in preparation. It's completely up to you. But with that, guys, that's all I have for you today, really. I just wanted to quickly go over the buffs, the changes, how it's going to affect us, the talent trees, what they're going to look like. And generally, I just wanted to get this information out to you because a lot of people still don't know that Psychic Link's going to be changing like this. Maybe some people don't follow Wowhead or the Blue Posts or the Discords. Completely understandable. And some people just like hearing somebody talk about it instead. Sometimes it's nicer just hearing it verbally and seeing it on a screen, like moving, instead of just looking up for a blue post, checking what it says, and trying to get that information processed as well. But with that, guys, I just want to say thank you for sticking around this long if you're still here. There's going to be a lot more shadow content coming out soon, as well as over on my Twitch. I am streaming regularly. Sometimes I have shorter streams coming up, you know, if my son's napping and I've got a bit of free time and I jump on and do some keys. It's kind of hard for me to stream my raids, so I'm trying to find a program that allows me to still have music on, but not having the Discord. It's a bit iffy, but I am working on it and I'll get there eventually. So just bear with me for that, guys. And yeah, thank you for all your support. I've recently hit 1k subs, which is amazing. You know, when you make a YouTube channel, you don't really think about reaching 1k subs. It's just kind of like you put out the videos because it's a hobby, it's fun, I enjoy doing it, I enjoy educating people. But no, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate all the support. And yeah, make sure to give the video a like if you enjoy it. Comment down below. Any questions you've got, feel free to ask. I can answer almost everything, and if I don't know the answer to it, I'll find it out. I'm never going to give you wrong information. So just have a little bit of faith in me, and I'll always get you the answer that's right. But yeah, take care, guys. Thank you for watching.